はっきり言うが、お前たちの手はわしらの腕でももう直せん。
Damn. Are you recording me?
得られるよ。ちょっと待ってよ。ストップ。
You sad? You sad? Okay. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video.
In this video, I'll be giving my review of the Water 7 arc in the Water 7 saga in One Piece. But before we get into the video,
Please be sure to subscribe to the channel as well as hit that notification bell to get notified for more content that I put out. As well, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit us with a like, and leave a comment, and let us know your thoughts on the Water 7 arc. So, without any further ado, let's just get into it, y'all.
If she ain't got a butt, fucking get into it, yo.
I guess we're here. We're finally here. Water 7 arc. So let's not waste no time. This time around, we're not going to be going like beat by beat because we feel like that's been a little much to handle. Kind of retelling the whole arc in your own words, a lot of work. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna hit on some main points. See how you feel about certain things. So, what are your thoughts on the arc and the island of Water 7?
yeah, so I will say during the arc, I wasn't feeling it as much as I felt while reflecting on it afterwards. I felt like during it, I thought I was going to have really high emotions, which I did in some points. If you're here, you probably saw the arc, so you understand what I'm saying with the high emotions, but I didn't feel them as much as I did while like writing notes and fully reflecting on it because it puts you through the ringer a little bit. But my first thoughts is, honestly, I had no idea what we were really getting into. I knew this was a big arc just based on certain things I've heard and seen, but I really wasn't sure what to expect. Besides that, I knew they were going here to find a shipwright, which was kind of exciting. I was like, ooh, a new crew member, but it's so much more than that, and it's not even getting a new crew member. It's just a lot.
It's just a lot.
So... And then also based on the cliffhanger of Long Ring, and Aokiji. And Aokiji, I knew that this arc was probably going to be related to something with Robin and something intense with Robin. I just had no idea what. So that's what I was expecting going into it. But the beginning of the arc was a lot of fun, and it kind of... Oda did a really good job of just setting us up for what was about to happen. So it really started with them talking about getting a shipwright, and then Sanji wanting it to be a babe, who wanted it to be like a really big, strong person. Was that Luffy? They all just had these different visions of who they wanted this shipwright to be, so that was just fun. And then they had this gold that they had to cash. They had to cash in for berries. So that's how it really set us up. So they cashed in the gold for 300 million berries? 300 million?
300 mil.
Which was a lot. And that just set us up for what was soon to come within the Straw Hats crew, because it just kind of escalated from there. And something I really loved what Oda did in this arc was it really just set us up for the hierarchy of the world. So it did a lot of world building of the hierarchy and we learned, and because of this, we learned more about the secret government people like CP9, which we'll get into a little bit. So a lot of world building, a lot of character development, as always. So I overall really, 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 really like this arc, and I enjoyed it more after watching it, if that makes sense. Reflecting on it, I was like, wow.
Because it's just one of the things you have to kind of let it sink in and think about everything that happened. Because I think more so out of the past arcs you've been through so far, Alabasta probably had the most going on, but even then, I think that, that's early Oda. I think Oda got better at telling a real concise, tight story in an arc the more he got along within the story. And it's been more, Alabasta was a long time ago now, if you think about it. Like, we've been through Long Ring, Long Land, we've been through Skypiea, we've been through Jaya, so it's been a minute in regards to, like, the release. But Water 7 is that arc. Most people don't make it this far, so this is a kudos to you, honestly.
No, I really love this arc, especially again after reflecting on it, because even if you asked me 3 days ago how I felt about it, I don't think I would have felt as passionate as I do now, because reflecting on it and just hearing other people's thoughts about it and just putting my own reflection on it has just been a lot of fun. And I really got to see more of the world building and understand the world building part of it. And
so what are some like high and low points throughout this arc for you that you kind of felt like we were like, okay, this is a lot to deal with, or like you were like, okay, this is lit?
I guess we'll start with the low. Of course, some of the lows were the cringe moments of the Straw Hats getting blamed for things that they didn't do. Losing Usopp, but then just Usopp's character in general became a little bit of a low for me, because I was like, come on, bro, what are you doing? So Usopp played a bit into the lows for me. And then, of course, him losing the 2/3 of the berries, not necessarily him losing the berries was a low, it was his reaction to losing them, especially when the Straw Hats were like, it's fine. Like, we'll make this work. We got this. We're still a team. And then Usopp's initial reaction to it was kind of a low. And then, of course, just everything happening with the Go Merry behind the scenes. There was just so much building in the plot in this arc. Like, the Go Merry was happening, Tom and Franky and then the CP9. There was so much going on in this arc that all played beautifully together.
There were like 8. It almost felt like there were 8 different
so many stories.
Side stories going on that were converging into each other.
They all played so well into each other. But so I guess that's kind of a high and a low. And then some of the highs, I just like, again, the world building, and then the continuous character building, and not just our prior characters that we know and love, but these new characters that we've been introduced to, like Franky, who we hated at first, like really did not like Franky at first. Really frustrating character, and then I grew to love him to death.
You don't even know how. You're like,
I was like, wow. And then his little sidekicks, I love them. The square heads. Oh my gosh. So the constant and continuous character building, I think, was a huge high for me in this.
Would you say it was a little daunting that there was so many branching different story lines going on?
Again, while watching it, yes. Like, while watching it, I was just like, what is happening? And there were a lot of slow parts for me where it's just like, okay, I just want to get to the end. I know it's going to end really big, and then I have to wait. And then, so I wanted to get to the end to know what was going to happen. But again, after reflecting on all of that waiting, it became a high for me.
It seems like this is the first time you really sat back after finishing, like, do I want to read instead of watch?
Yeah.
For
the first time, I think I wanted to read. We talked to one of our friends who we went to college with, and she was saying she prefers reading because she can go at her own pace, and she's a fast reader. And I was like, maybe that's what I need, because I feel like I lose stamina while watching it sometimes. Number one, my eyes get tired from reading the subtitles.
And trying to watch.
To watch. And then I'm also just like tired in general. So I feel like if I read it, can read it at my own pace and not get so tired. And I get to skip all of those slow parts and like the zoom in on the faces 17,000 times, even though you saw that facial expression already. So I've been kind of debating on if I want to start reading it, but then you prove some points where I might miss out on some of the characters' development in that you don't hear their voices. You get to come up with your own voices as you read, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might try to do both, or if I'm getting really impatient during an arc, I might just pick up the book or something. I'll see. But.
Yeah. I mean, what I would say for anybody watching, I don't think it's a bad idea for you to read. I think at this point, now that you've watched, there is a certain point, which I cannot say where the point is, where I would be like, you know what, just read. Like, you're good from here. But I think for now, where you're at for the next couple arcs, I think watching it is where it'll probably hit more. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean,
probably because of the voices and everything. Right?
Yeah, you'll get. It's just like a chock full of characters that you're gonna start to get introduced to soon. That like once you can kind of put that voice in, you can kind of move forward and be like, all right, I already know what they should sound like, what mannerisms, certain things like that. It's that has nothing to do with this Water 7 arc. That's just a future thing. So let's kind of hone in more on talking about the Water 7 arc as a whole. We kind of gave your broad thoughts on it. So first thing, let's talk about Robin and the masked people. How do you feel about that?
So Robin, we'll start with her. I didn't buy any of it, not gonna lie, to begin with. Like, I knew she wasn't a bad person, so I was just kind of waiting for that reveal to happen. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that she was abandoning them. I knew there was something greater that she was doing, and I was just kind of patiently waiting to see what it was. So I didn't buy it. I was on Luffy's side this whole time, gonna fight for her because I know she's either being forced to do something or, but we find out that what she's doing is so honorable, and it just makes complete sense. The masked people, that threw me for a loop. I genuinely had no idea who they were besides they whispered to her CP9. I had no idea what that was in the beginning. It was so random.
What does that even mean?
What does that mean? And then we find out it's something greater with the government. Again, the world building and the hierarchy was kind of played out amazing through this. But I had no idea who the masked people were. They were intense, but you didn't know how intense they were until they were revealed. Yeah. So, I was clueless.
What did you think about the design of Water 7?
Oh, the island. Yeah. It was like a little Venice. I loved it. It was really cool.
You're like, I've been there before, so.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think I was watching Murphy's video, and she talked about the culture of each island and how they're so unique, and I saw that so much in Water 7, and that there's such a culture to Water 7, and that all of these people wear masks. Why? We don't know. It's just the culture. So it's really cool. I liked to see what Water 7 was about. I also loved in Water 7 how they were so welcoming of pirates because they are they're known for their shipwright island. And they're very well known for, of course, the sea train. Yeah. So that also plays into the culture of the islands. They're known for their shipwrights, the sea train, the welcoming of the pirates because of the shipwrights. But they have like specific places where the pirates are more welcome, and it was cool. Yeah. And it's also just kind of funny how everyone on the island that honors the mayor, Iceberg, Ice Pops.
Ice
Pops. It's such a community. They all honor the same person, and they're all like annoyed by Franky. So I saw that a lot too. A big sense of community, which we learn later down the line is because of Tom. Yeah. I really liked Water 7. It's a little Venice. We took a trip to Italy.
I mean, speaking about the shipwrights, what did you think about Galley-La and Iceberg as a whole? Galley-La. I don't know.
I enjoyed them. Trying to put my bias aside because we know who they are in the future.
At the time, I guess.
At the time.
At the time,
they were pretty badass. I really liked them. They worked as a team to kind of defend their company. Thank you. Galley-La, to defend the Galley-La, and we saw that when these pirates didn't want to pay or something for the shipwrights' work. Yeah. And they were like, sorry, you're going to pay. And they all worked as a team to defeat them, basically. So they were pretty cool. I liked the sense of camaraderie within the shipwrights' crew and the Galley-La. I liked them at first.
I mean, you said how you felt about Usopp losing like the money and everything. So that then kind of got us to the point where we had to deal with the Franky family as a whole.
Yeah.
So, and you were you were dealing with the Franky family a lot. You were just like, these guys kind of suck.
They were so annoying, and I really did not like them at first. They were really annoying. Franky, we got introduced to later. First, we got introduced to the family, I believe, if I'm remembering.
Franky was
right.
in the mask, so like you didn't know what Franky looked like.
Yeah.
You just heard his voice and just saw a masked person.
And what's funny, if you remember me saying this, I knew Iceburg was somehow related to Franky, but I thought because Franky was a cyborg or whatever, I thought Ice Pops was controlling him or something. I thought somehow they had a relation.
Yeah,
I just didn't know
you picked
how.
that early. You were like, nah, these two. You like, he's sus. He's somebody sus.
They're related somehow and ended up being a beautiful story in the end. But yeah, I just knew it, but I didn't know how.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Franky was annoying. And the whole crew was, the way they beat up Usopp was so sad. So I felt bad for Usopp in this time coming. Yeah. Do you want me to jump ahead to?
I mean, you could talk about. You got your next little lineup shot. You got Straw Hats versus the Franky family.
Yeah. So money got stolen. Usopp was like, "Nah, I need to go get that money back. Like I'm a pirate. I got this." He don't got this.
He don't got this.
He don't got this.
Spoiler
But
alert.
it set us up for that memorable formation of Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Chopper going into F stuff up with the Franky family, which was so cool, so badass. Loved it. But then Usopp was just being Usopp.
I mean,
He didn't even take that. He just was like, yeah.
I mean, that goes right into Luffy versus Usopp.
Yeah. So Usopp basically couldn't. I understand. I'm trying to be that empath, and I understand why Usopp felt the way he did. I understand that he's embarrassed. I understand that his ego got hurt a little bit. But if your best friend Luffy and the Straw Hats are saying, "Bro, it's fine. Don't worry about the money. We're going to get a new ship." This is another part where I understand. Get a new ship. We're gonna make it work. We're still a crew. You're still my bro. Like, don't worry about it. We're gonna make it work.
You're still my bro.
We're gonna make it work with 1/3 of the money. But Usopp was so his feelings were coming from all over the place. Number one, his ego was hurt from losing 2/3 of the money. He's a warrior. He's a pirate. So how could he do that for to his crew? But then also when Luffy was like, we're gonna big plot point that we forgot to mention. The shipwrights evaluated the Go-Mary, and they said it's a dub. We gotta
Sorry.
yeah, you gotta let that ship go. So that's where this all came to play. So then Luffy was like, because Icebar kind of said something that resonated with Luffy, saying, "Hey, if you basically fight for the ship and repair it as much as you can, you're putting you and your crew at risk. So be the captain, be the bigger person, and just get a new ship, bro." So that resonated with Luffy, and that's when he was like, "It's fine. We got 100 million berries still. We can get a new ship." And Usopp did not like that. So not only was Usopp feeling embarrassed, his ego was hurt from losing the money, but also he's saying that the love of his life, his ship, is now a dub.
Your ship
is
a dub.
That's where the whole fight happened. Yeah. And it was sad. Like, I understand Usopp's frustration with it, but I don't understand why he felt the need to fight Luffy. I just didn't get it. He knew he was going to lose. He did impress us especially with the impact dials that he's
resourceful. He made something happen.
He did a lot. But
it was probably one of the better fights I think we've seen in the series.
Yeah, especially for Usopp. But obviously he was going to lose here up against Luffy. It just, I don't know. I just was on edge the whole time. And then especially reflecting on it afterwards, it's kind of like, ugh.
You're like,
It just really sucked.
Do you think, are you of the mindset of, it's just a shit, bro?
No. Maybe at that point I was. But then as we got further into the arc, when we learned about the little soul that the ship has, that.
Club Man. It's hard to.
Yeah, I'll just call it the little soul. Then I understood a little bit more.
Yeah.
That ship had a whole soul. But yeah, the fight overall was very cringy. It hurt my soul a lot, and I know it hurt a lot of others' souls. So that kind of sucked.
So with all that chaos going on,
Lots
with
of
that
chaos.
going on, right? On the other end, you got Robin apparently attempting to assassinate Iceberg. Mm-hmm. And then we get the reveal of who and what CP9 is.
Yeah. So, again, I didn't buy it that it was Nico Robin. I thought something else was up, which we learned. When we got the big reveal of who CP9 was, who they ended up being the Galley-La, the shipwrights, it threw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie. I had no idea at
You felt
all.
bad for the pigeon at one point, too. We was watching, you was like, look, the poor pigeon.
Yeah.
I was sitting here like, I was just watching you. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't feel that bad for the pigeon.
Yeah, it was great. The reveal was great. They set it up so that it looked like CP9 was defeated. Not CP9, sorry. The shipwrights were defeated in front of Iceberg's room.
It's Lucci. Lucci is
The big
pigeon.
guy. Mm-hmm.
Lucci is pigeon. Kaku is the long nose dude. And then
He looks like a kaku.
he looks like a Kaku.
Kaku long nose, right?
Oh
Makes
my
sense.
god. Anyway,
Kaku! Like a bird. Yeah.
Lucci has the bird. Kaku has the long nose.
But he has a long nose like a bird beak. And his name is Kaku.
Okay, you got it.
Kaku!
You got it. You got it. And then we have Bluno, the bar, the person who works at the bar.
The door guy.
Yep. And then
I won't remember any of these names.
I always forget the girl name.
I
The
like
girl
her.
who was the
Assistant person.
assistant.
Yeah, I know who she is. But I don't know.
I forget her name. Whatever. So, your thoughts on that reveal? You were shocked. You didn't see it coming. You would never guess it was them.
The only time I thought someone was sus was the assistant. I thought she was a little sus when she like left randomly. I just was like, oh, where's she going?
Khalifa. There we go.
Khalifa. I thought she was sus, but I definitely didn't think the others were. Not gonna lie, I had no idea. Threw me for a whole loop. And when they were revealed as CP9, that's where we got to really see their true powers and how threatening they are. They're intense.
Yeah, you was confused. You was like, so what devil fruit is this? My man's got the. You thought one of them had the iron fruit. Because they was like iron
Oh,
body.
yeah, because, all right, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So what is it called?
You have it written down. Heads up. She did have to write. She had to write down what these powers were.
Roku Shiki.
Roku Shiki.
Roku Shiki. They have
Like
this
the TV. Roku.
Shiki. They have this really cool thing called Roku Shiki technique. It's almost like a very elevated and advanced like taekwondo of sorts. There's the moonwalk, which is it allows people to basically fly in the air. So
You was fucking with that shit.
I really like that. I dream about that, but actually like dreams about like just levitating and then just like, you know, I like the moonwalk. But basically they
step on the air basically.
and they use a lot of power to like, kind of like how a jellyfish swims in the water. They're like, you know.
That's
Sorry. There's Iron Body, which is basically where they kind of like tense up and they get like a superhuman defense. They become really hard, like an iron body. There's the Tempest Kick, which allows them to make like air blades,
yeah.
which is kind of cool. Shave, it gives them like superhuman speed. They're like,
What about your favorite one?
The one that's the cringiest and it makes me gag, like actually it's so gross, is the finger pistol.
You was not with it. You was I think you like almost made us like pause the whole episode. Like
I wanted to fast forward through it. That freaked me out when he just went through the.
because they kept zooming in on his finger.
Nasty, but they have that, and that's scary. Which apparently, I think the finger pistol is just based on that one guy who was in training of CP9, or he's the newest member of CP9.
Yeah.
The finger pistol, I think, is like the last thing that they can master or something, because he had everything else besides the finger pistol.
I can't even remember.
I think I remember saying
I
that.
think he's missing like two of them.
Oh, maybe he was missing paper art.
I think he had paper art. I
Allows...
know he didn't have finger pistol. I don't think he had iron body either.
Anyway.
Whatever.
Gross. Paper art is...
Paper art is the dodging one. That they be dodging.
Oh.
That's like what made them easier to like keep on dodging attacks.
Oh yeah, they go like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we get a little twisty twist. One more power from your boy Lucci.
Yeah, Lucci has Zoan Devil Fruit, and he can turn into a giant ass leopard of sorts. It's like cat fruit. He's giant. Lots of strength. So not only does he have the Rokushiki technique down, he's also a giant leopard, which is frightening.
It's a cool fruit though.
It's very cool fruit. And then also the other fruits are the door.
Yeah, the homie has the door fruit.
The bartender.
Yeah.
And then
nobody else has one.
so just those two fruits within CP9.
Yeah. So
intense.
So with all that going on, we eventually end up to Franky and Usopp chumming it up because Franky decided to get revenge from Luffy for breaking the whole Franky house, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to that ship and go grab the long nosed dude again.
Yeah, so he thinks Usopp is still a part of the Straw Hats because at this point Usopp pieced out of the Straw Hats, but Franky doesn't know that. So he thinks he's doing something threatening by taking Usopp. Yeah. But then Franky gets to know Usopp a little bit, gets to know his love for the ship.
They start bonding
a lot, and it's like perfect timing, kind of. And then CP9 shows up because we learn that Iceburg, the whole reason for all of this is because they want the blueprints of the Pluton.
I think it's Pluton, yeah.
Pluton.
Yeah. Ancient weapon stuff.
I'm good with some names. Not of people, but of things. The Pluton. And Iceburg let go of the blueprints, and CP9 figured that out, and they figured out Iceburg's connection to Franky, which is basically they're brothers. Yeah. Basically, they were raised together under Tom, who we'll talk about in a little while.
Because they tried to finesse it with the whole Cuddy Flam,
yes,
and Franky thing. Them not knowing the two, but since CP9 was there for years undercover,
5 years. That's another thing that we
they really did feel betrayed. That was actually kind of messed up. I was like, yo, they really lived with them forever. They thought these were our homies.
What's his name's the one shipwright that wasn't in CP9?
The rope dude. Mm-hmm. Shoot, I forgot his name.
He's the one that was like I think he was hurt the most, even a little bit more than Iceburg.
Yeah, because Iceburg even trusted him to like keep the blueprint safe. Yeah, because that's when Robin let Iceburg, with all that chaos going on, Robin let Iceburg know the reason and why she's betraying the Straw Hats and everything like that. So, which we'll
get into.
Pretty noble, honestly.
Yeah, I love her. Which we'll get into a little while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, CP9 shows up to Franky and Usopp. This is where we find out, so before they show up, Franky tells Usopp that he and the ship were visited by the soul.
Yeah.
What is it called?
The Club Men.
If we remember back in Skypiea, that little, it looked like a little Cupid of sorts, just like kind of like a mini shipwright working on the ship, and Oda did a great job with this because we're just like, who is that? And then it seemed like such an irrelevant thing that happened, and then now we get here and we learned that it's because the ship has a whole soul, and it was basically the ship saying thank you to Usopp and the Straw Hats for taking such good care of her and loving her so much, and so cute. So that with that development, I kind of gain a little bit of a soft spot for Usopp, and then it disappears when they're on the train. But a little bit of a soft spot
and then it disappears on the train
for Usopp, in that wow, he really loves this ship, and the ship is returning the love, and it makes his actions make a little bit more sense. A little bit. Again, I'm trying to be empathetic.
Yeah.
I am a very empathetic person, but Usopp was really annoying in this. But
So what was your thoughts on Franky and his backstory?
Oh, we're gonna get into Tom. Okay, so yeah, because I guess yes, when CP9 shows up, he's like, "Give us the blueprints, yada yada," and then we get
Tossed the Mary away.
Tossed the Mary away. But there's something that makes me think that the Mary's gonna show up in like a weird way down the line because they just threw it into the sea. I don't know. I think it's gonna come back somehow. But anyway, Mary disappears. Usopp's heartbroken. Franky feels it a little bit too, and so do the Square Girls. What are they?
Square Girls.
I love them, but don't know their names. And then we go into Franky's backstory, and
remember when they was getting blown away by the wind?
Yeah, they had to walk like this.
Why are you walking sideways? There's no wind pressure. That's the funny thing about this arc. Actually, I'm sorry I cut you off. You actually thought it was raining outside while we were watching this because of how you were sucked into the episode. You was like, "Wait, it's not raining?"
So it was dark outside, and yeah, I was really into it. And also the big talk about Agua Laguna.
Aqua Laguna?
Aqua Laguna, the big talk about it, the whole basically few episodes that we were watching, the hype up about it, and then it actually started happening. I thought it was raining in Brooklyn, but it was not.
But it wasn't.
But you even were like, it's not?
I mean, I thought maybe. I was like, it was... Because I think it rained the day before. And at this point, my days just get meshed together. I don't know.
Anyway, but yeah, I thought it was raining. I got really invested into this backstory. It's like top 2 backstories for me in this whole...
one of the piece.
One of the piece. In this whole world building, it's the top backstory for me. Belmer is still, I think, number 1. Or maybe they're tied. I love Belmer. Still, to this day.
Maybe she's alive.
Maybe. I hope so. Is she?
No.
Don't play with my heart like that. Love me some Belmer. Okay, so... Tom. Love me some Tom. So, basically we learn that back in the day, Tom, Franky, who was then Cuddy... What is it?
Cuddy Flam.
Cuddy Flan? Flan? Flam.
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 Flan?
Flan?
No.
Ice Pops. What's her name? The old lady. Oh, Kokoro. I butchered that. Sorry. And the little Froggy, who I love. The frog made some random appearances throughout the episode, and we find out his importance. And I love the frog. Like, love me some frogs.
I don't know if they can see that.
That's a frog. So. I was really excited that there was a frog that made a random appearance in the ocean. Who knew? Love it though. And his name.
Front-stroking frog.
Yeah, and we learned out why he even learned the front stroke in this.
Is that what it's called? A front stroke? Is that the wrong name? I don't know. I don't swim.
I'm assuming they're like that anyway. I doggy paddle. Yeah, the front because frogs usually do what's that? The breaststroke.
Yeah, I guess that's what the frog would. What?
He's supposed to do breaststroke, but he was doing this, which isn't normal. Frogs usually go like.
Okay. Anyway. Okay, National Geographic.
Okay. So, the frog's name is Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Loved it. So, they were all this tight little random family. Such a dynamic bunch. And Tom was just a phenomenal person. He was a phenomenal leader, phenomenal shipwright, phenomenal parent figure. He wasn't their parent, but sure acted like it. Although Franky at the time just kept on messing up, and Ice Pop seemed to be the more mature one, yeah, and the big brother and the one that Tom could rely on more. He treated them both with equal amount of love and loved them for who they were and what they provided for the little dynamic bunch that they were. So I really fell in love with this backstory, and I wanted to learn so much more about it. We learned that Tom was a really, really well-known and phenomenal shipwright because he made Goldie Roger's ship. Again, Oda with the tying all of the plot points together. This is how Tom and Franky and everyone is related to the King of the Pirates. It's just so cool. So because Tom made his ship, Goldie Roger's ship.
It's called the Oro Jackson.
Cool, I didn't know that.
Oro Jackson, there we go. Yeah.
Oro Jackson. Did they say that in the...
Yeah.
Huh. I don't remember because he made the ship, the government basically put a bounty on him.
Yeah.
And they came for the trial or whatever, but then Tom was like, pause. Listen, I have this really great thing I can do. I can make a sea train that connects these islands together.
The sea train. Sorry. When I think about the sea train, I just think about our MTA trains.
Oh. And I was like, isn't that not what it's called, the sea train?
No, just like, the sea train, the A train? B train?
Oh, sea train. So the government is like, I bet. Do this for us within 10 years or something. Gave him a time frame, and we'll see if things change. So he did it. Tom did it. The trial was looking great, but then it was CP5 at the time.
Yeah.
CP5 comes through to Water 7 and is like, yo, Tom, those blueprints that we know you have of Pluton, hand them over. And Tom was like, what are you talking about? No. And then we learn that Tom gives them over to Ice Pops. And then we later learn that Ice Pops gives it to Franky.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, Tom, basically CP5 set up Tom for, they basically made it seem like he was trying to sink the government ship.
Yeah.
Where the trial was supposed to be held. And they framed Tom, and Tom went down like a champ. He was like, listen, Ice Pops, Franky, I'm okay. Just take care of Galley-La. You got this. He basically didn't want Franky to go down because it was Franky's ships that they used to defeat the big ship.
And he had to check Franky too, because Franky was on some like, oh, no ship is mine that would do this.
And then, and this is why Tom was so just amazing. He was just like, be proud of your ship. No matter what they're used for, you put your whole heart and your soul into this. So you learn about, like, a big storyline within this is the importance of ships. Yeah. So that was Franky's backstory, and it was amazing. Yeah. I think that was probably my favorite part of this entire arc.
What threw you for a loop was interesting, like, that you didn't notice, was that Tom was a fishman.
Yeah.
Because when they said it, you was like, wait, he's a fishman?
Yeah.
Because you're so used to those fishmen.
From Arlong.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely a fishman, and I saw that afterwards with his... I noticed he just had weird features, like he did have, like, the little...
But it's also One Piece, so you were just like...
Everybody
got something weird going on.
We got... Kokoro, what is his name?
Kokoro? Yeah.
With the
funny nose.
Funny nose. Yeah. We got Usopp. Everyone just has weird features, so I thought he was just a funny looking man. And the old lady, love her.
I mean, she was able to talk to the frog.
Yeah.
So, that was chill. So, with all that going on, we gotta talk about my boy, my guy.
Sanji. So, okay. I pointed out at one point while we were watching it, I was like, Sanji disappeared again.
Where is Sanji?
Which I knew meant he was going to come at the most clutch moment.
But it is frustrating. You always do seem frustrated while you're watching. You're always like, where is he? What is he doing?
Because I know that he could just provide so much during certain moments. But after watching Little Garden, I knew he was going to come in at the perfect moment. And he did. He came up. He ended up at the sea train right when Nico Robin was leaving, and he saw Nico Robin, Usopp, and Franky all get taken onto the sea train. So Sanji was like, bet, I think I need to get on that train. And he did, and he left the really funny note for Nami. Sanji, I like Sanji at random parts. His personality still irks me. But
you don't like spending too much time with Sanji, it seems like.
Yeah, just don't talk.
Just don't talk.
Sanji, just don't talk around women. Everything else, do. Yeah.
Damn, my God. Just don't speak.
Yeah.
Just don't
I'll
speak.
listen to Zoro talk any day over Sanji.
I mean, speaking of Zoro, Zoro and Luffy, because they got washed up by CP9.
They were so funny.
So getting stuck in between buildings and chimneys.
I think this is where I started losing my patience a little bit, because I know they could both get out of there. I mean, Luffy needed no assistance at all, which is what bothered me. He got out on his own. He just heard Nami or whatever and got motivated to do it, but he needed no assistance. Zoro did need a little bit of assistance. He needed that third sword that he ended up getting.
Chopper, yeah.
But I started losing my patience a little bit. I was like, all right, get to the point. They're all going to break free. Everything's fine. But it was pretty funny how they both got stuck the way they did.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a good humor, like, break in between the intensity.
So, from going to Sanji, the sea train. Let's get into these. Well, we might as well just call it it's basically Bullet Train. We just watched Bullet Train like a couple weeks ago.
It literally set up like Bullet Train, or Bullet Train was set up like Sea Train.
I mean, there's plenty of train movies out there, so reference to reference, right? Mm-hmm. The Sea Train. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Sea Train, first of all?
Well, Sea Train is dope. Don't understand how it works for the life of me. However, it's dope.
don't understand.
I'm like, science is not sciencing right now. Just nothing makes sense, but I love it. I love how they set up the scenes and how each train was getting each cart was getting progressively more intense depending on who was in it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Of course, Sanji knocked through the first few carts easily because it's just like regular old marine guys.
Yeah, because they just opened the door and he was just like, oh, hey.
It was great. I really loved how it was set up. And then he found Usopp and Franky. This scene was kind of funny because Sanji at first was like, Usopp's not my friend type vibe. And then he saw...
Because now I'm thinking about every time you were crying throughout the arc when they was looking for them. Luffy! Zoro! Usopp.
Usopp, come back to us. That was, when they were looking for everybody, when Luffy was stuck between the buildings and Zoro was in the chimney, Chopper was like, kept on saying, yeah, Luffy, Zoro! Usopp, come back to us. And then the whole crew behind them, Ice Pop's crew, was also yelling for them. And then there was always that one guy saying, Usopp, come back to us. It was so funny. I love the little comedic
moments, yeah.
Yeah, breaks in between. Like, them getting stuck in the chimney, that, Usopp, come back to us. And,
Yeah, because even with I think with One Piece, with all the chaos that goes on, that happens each arc, they still gonna act like how they act. Their personalities don't turn off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Zoro's still gonna get lost. Zoro's still gonna do something.
And they throw that in so randomly. Like when they got into the Galley-La headquarters, basically, Zoro just started walking.
But how are you going the wrong way?
And then Chopper and Nami were like, bro, what are you doing? Yeah. I love Zoro.
So the Sea Train, back to the Sea Train.
So it kept on getting, okay, we got up to where they met. This was kind of funny too. This was a little comedic break because Sanji was like, Usopp, not my friend. Who are you? You're not a part of the Straw Hats. However, like, hey. And then when he noticed it was Franky, then automatically Sanji was like, yo, you hurt my friend Usopp. But then Usopp got in between them. He was like, no, everything's fine.
He's chill.
Even though he wouldn't have said that a couple episodes ago. Yeah. But so then they all work together and they go through each cart. My favorite cart was, and I knew, and the whole time I was making little comments like, Sanji against
you
this
knew how it was going to turn out because he was like, what are we doing here? Just get...
Yeah, I loved Sanji against Noodle Guy. I loved it because I knew he was going to pull out some chef technique, and when he used specifically the chef knives.
All right, Zoro.
Swords. Chef knives only when the noodles were being used. I loved that cart so much. And then Franky versus the CP9 beginner, we'll call him.
The weasel dude.
That was pretty intense. He found Franky's soft spot, which was his back. Yeah. And then Franky just laid down.
He just lay on his back. He was like, well, now I'm unstoppable.
Yeah. But we saw Franky's strength in that, too, as a cyborg. He was really cool. I also love the reason why he's a cyborg, everyone knows this because you probably saw this arc, but it's because he was hit by the train because he tried to stop the train, which is so intense. And then we learned that's why the frog does. Oh, so many things.
Which still make sense because he said he fixed himself, and you're just like, wait, what?
He is pretty cool.
They thought he was dead. Everybody thought he was dead.
Yeah, he's good at making weapons, and he turned his body into one. It's pretty cool.
What do you think about Franky's design?
He's cool.
You like his design, even with his speedo?
At first, I mean, that's.
I'm talking about his everything.
Well,
about...
that again, I hated Franky in the beginning, but then you learn about his backstory. You learn that he just always wore a speedo for some reason. I grew to love Franky a lot, speedo and all. And his belly is like a Coca-Cola freezer or something, or soda. I don't know if it was specifically Coca-Cola, but
put your ginger ale in there.
Yeah, that was funny. I like Franky a lot. I hope we get more of him.
Yeah. So we had Franky versus the Weasel guy, Sanji versus the new guy. But then we get the big introduction of the boy. The man, the myth, the legend. The man from Sniper Island. SOGEKING.
What is happening?
It's SOGEKING. It's SOGEKING.
Why?
It's SOGEKING. You don't know what SOGEKING is?
No. Oh my god. La la lu.
Oh my god. I was like, where are you going with this? So
Who?
So, okay, this is where Usopp bothered me again. It was great. It was funny, but like Usopp, just like get past your ego for a minute and just take one for the whole team. Like I understand you're embarrassed. I understand mentally you probably couldn't do it as Usopp because you thought you were going to be a disappointment. So you had to put on this whole mask and call yourself SOGEKING, which Lulu la la Lou was funny. I loved it. I loved it a lot.
It was
actually.
funny.
I loved the theme song, and I loved.
You didn't see it coming. You was just like,
I was like, "What is happening right now?" But then again, reflecting on it, I'm just like, why can't you just get past this embarrassment? Just do it for the team. But whatever. If this is, I would rather have this version of Usopp or SOGEKING. I'd rather have him than him not show up at all. So he's a big person for showing up at all after everything.
well, SOGEKING is somebody different from Usopp. It's not the same person.
It's Usopp, bro.
No, SOGEKING is from Sniper Island.
Okay.
Usopp is from Serb Village.
Mm-hmm.
Two different people.
Okay, got it. Anyway,
You have no confirmation that they're the same people, so it's two different people.
Nico Robin talked to SOGEKING as if he was Usopp. She knew.
Not unmasked. We don't know.
All right. So that nose is just anyone's nose.
Ka-
Everybody
Ka-
has that nose wrapped
Kaku
up.
has a similar nose.
It's not square. Anyway.
Why you bring so you getting frustrated?
Because Usopp bothered me in this point because I was like, just get over it. But again, I'd rather him show up as some version of himself than not show up at all. So,
Yeah.
And he did. He showed up. He got into Robin's cart. But
He showed up. He was hiding like in Robin's cloak and all that stuff. Like that stuff was funny. He was just like she was just playing along with it too, because he showed up on her. He was just like, "Yo, I'm just gonna be in here making weird." She's like, "Hey, why are you in my face? You are personal space." All that other stuff. It was kind of funny.
he made it so hot though. Like, why do you have to do all that?
He could have chilled.
Just sat there.
He could have chilled. He didn't chill.
You're risking it all right now, friends.
Chill. So we're basically close to the end of the arc at this point. After everybody, Usopp, Luffy pushes himself out the buildings, Zoro cuts himself out the chimney. That's when, because Iceberg cleared up the whole thing of like the Straw Hats not being behind.
Yes, let's talk about that a minute. So, Nico Robin, when it was just Nico Robin and Ice Pops in the room, she basically confessed to Ice Pops, like, hey, I'm only doing this to save the Straw Hats. I don't want this weapon for me. I don't want to do anything bad with this weapon. I'm just very interested in history. Yes, I'm dangerous because I can read the poneglyphs, but I don't want to do anything bad with it. I just really want to learn about history. I just want to know. And then maybe by learning about history, kind of like real life, she can save the world because we need to learn about our past to move forward. So she's dope for that. And she came clean to Ice Pops saying, the only reason why I'm doing this is to save the Straw Hats because I had an ultimatum. It was either I help in this mission to get Pluton and then surrender myself, or the Straw Hats get the Buster Call on them, which we learn later on she has basically a lot of trauma from a Buster Call because that's how her whole island was defeated. So, yeah, she is so heroic for that act. She was willing to turn herself in just for the Straw Hats. And so when the Straw Hats, well, first Nami learned about that. And that, I loved that part when Nami found out. And then Chopper's knocked out because he did such a heroic thing by carrying Ice Pops and what's his name? The good shipwright, basically.
Rope dude.
Carried them out. He pushed Nami out the window to save her. Carried these two dudes out and then looked at all of the injured people around him and was like, I need to save these people. And then knocked out. So Chopper, honorable mention to him. I can't forget about him. And then Nami learns that Nico Robin actually is doing this for the benefit of the Straw Hats. She goes over and, like, slaps Chopper in the face. She's like, wake up! Wake up! We gotta go save Nico! And then that's when they go search for everybody to go be like, hey, Nico Robin is still on our side. Let's go get her. Let's go save her. All of that to lead into... she finds, finally, we're backtracking now, but she finds Luffy, she finds Zoro, tells them the news, and then they go to follow the sea train. And they now know that Sanji, after the letter, Sanji's on there, so...
because he left the Den Mushi, the snail phone.
And they got in contact with each other. So now let's talk about Franky's family. So, the whole sea train thing is happening at the same exact time. We now have Luffy, Nami, Kokoro, the grandma, and the little girl Chimney.
Well, she wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, she snuck on, which I love.
Yeah.
And then the little rabbit, her little pet thing. They're all on this sea train, and then Franky's family attaches.
Iceberg fix it up for them because that was like the older sea train model,
which has no control over the speed.
No brakes, no nothing.
Pretty cool.
What?
It's pretty cool.
You want to be on a train with no brakes?
I mean, it's getting them there faster. They're catching right up. They caught right up. But I loved this. I loved them all coming together because they were once enemies. They have every right. Franky's family and the Straw Hats have every right to hate each other because a part of it they're...
All of this is happening because...
Yeah, they are what broke Usopp and the Straw Hats up, basically.
Yeah.
However, they all came together for one common goal because they have one common enemy, and that's to go after the sea train, which is where Nico Robin and Franky are. So they want to go defeat CP9, basically.
Yeah. It's basically, they want revenge against CP9. They want to get Franky back. They want to get Robin back. It's just that.
Yeah, they have one common goal, and this is where it's so cool. So my favorite parts of this chase, basically. So they're chasing the sea train that Nico Robin and CP9 are on. There's so many favorite parts.
Here we go.
I loved it. So
we know why you loved it. I know why you loved it.
There's lots of reasons. Okay, so first, Luffy and Zoro. So while all of this is happening, another plot thing that's thrown in there, sprinkled in there, is there's a giant storm, and the biggest storm that has ever hit Water 7, basically, the Aqua... Laguna. Is it Aqua or Agua? Aqua, so the color, not water in Espanol.
Yeah, Aqua.
Aqua, not Agua.
Like the water bottle, Aquafina.
Yeah. Okay, so Aqua Laguna is happening, and so they're getting on this train when the biggest storm is happening. Just add that. Throw that layer on top. So they're about to approach this giant wave. And like Corey mentioned, there's no brakes on this new sea train they got going on. It's technically an old sea train. So Luffy and Zoro are just like, we got this. Don't worry. Even though Franky's family are like shooting tons of cannons.
Everybody's figured out.
Yeah. Then Luffy and Zoro just, position up. And Luffy basically punches through it and Zoro slices through it. Not really sure what happens, but they get through the wave, and then Franky's family's reaction is the best. They're like, yes, really praising them, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then we have another moment like that, two other moments like that with Zoro. Zoro's just like, okay, this is a side note. This was a random thought I had as I was reflecting on it. Is it just me, or does Zoro have just show more strength and random powers almost as the more naps he takes? Like every time he wakes up from a nap, he does something new. Like he could apparently slice through trains. Like what? Or
the power of naps. I mean, you love the power of naps, so.
think that's why I love Zoro so much.
He
gets lost all the time. I don't get lost necessarily, but I have no sense of direction. I love naps. Soulmate.
Yeah, the soulmate is right, because I had enough. We were watching, the way that you were just getting giddy every time Zoro like did something. I had to turn around and be like, "Yo, you alright, bro?"
He's
like,
really cool.
I was like, "You okay?" Because that's not just your really
cool
vibes that you're giving. It's like, I'm like, yo, I'm about to get left for a character.
He's really cool, and if he was a real person in real life,
he's 17.
10 years ago, I would,
Oh my god, fine, whatever.
Or maybe when he's a little older.
You're Team Zoro. We already know. We're Team Zoro.
I'm very much Team Zoro, and this just added to it. And Franky's family's reaction just added to that as well. Because it's like, yeah, they get me.
They understand.
They understand my hype for him. No, but Zoro, T-Bone, which is like a very well-known Marine guy, very powerful. Franky's family was actually afraid of him.
Yeah.
Zoro was able to defeat him in like one slice. Like, pow, bye. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. So those were some honorable mentions of the sea train chase, basically. I loved all that.
We didn't get to talk about the actual fight with CP9 and Sanji and Franky and Usopp. Well, sorry, SOGEKING.
It didn't last very long. There's not much to talk about. It's just like
it was dope, though.
It was dope,
they tried.
It didn't. It lasted 2 seconds because the door fruit just messed it all up, basically. They thought they were getting away because they, like, swiped up Nico Robin.
Detached the train.
Like, we out. Detached the train, but then the door fruit popped up. That was, like, a scary movie, though. You
was freaked out.
It was scary. If you're watching the anime and not necessarily reading, so I guess this is another important part about watching it also. The sound effect of the door fruit coming into play. Oh my god. I love scary movies, and that like gave me that scary movie feel. I was like, holy, what are we watching right now?
Because all they told you before was that he could make like anything a door with the walls.
Yeah.
But then next thing you know, you just see homie just make an air door.
Yeah, it was that was suspenseful.
Yeah.
But that messed everything up, the whole plan, that door fruit. And then basically it ends with
Sanji got washed up.
Yeah.
He tried to kick him and he was like, well.
And it's because of all those other powers they have, like the iron, like he can't kick through iron right now.
Plus he also like fought through a whole train to get to this point. Like my man was
tired.
He was beat.
I'm excited to see. I'm really excited. It left on such a cliffhanger. And you even offered, you're like, let's put One Piece on last night. And I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah, this was the one time. This is actually out of all the arcs we've been through. Every other time you've leaped into the next arc already
before going over it.
Before we've done a video record. This is the first time we finished the arc and we was just like. At first, I was like, all right, it'll make better for the video if you don't do it. But even I tried to persuade you to even
watch it. I wanted to because it left on such a cliffhanger of getting into Eni's lobby. I want to know.
What's your thoughts on Eni's lobby?
I'm scared. It's scary.
It's crazy, right? This shit is like just everything else is cloudy, but it's just the sun here, the way the water is.
It's creepy looking, and then everything we heard about it, like the big gates and the torturing. It sounds really scary, and it sounds like that's a horror movie to me. Like what power, like when you have that power to do anything you want to torture people. Yeah. That's what it's coming into basically. So we're gonna learn a lot more about the world of One Piece.
Do you have any theories about what's gonna happen in Eni's lobby? I know we don't even have this written down in the notes I was gonna ask you, but I just wonder if you have anything you think is going to happen in this arc.
I don't know. I'm hoping I obviously know because we have tons more to get into with One Piece, and I know it's very far ahead. They're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they save some really cool people along the way. That's what I hope and what I'm kind of theorizing, because why are you gonna go through all this without finding some new people? Whether they just save them or maybe they find Tom. I don't know. I'm freaked out by it, but I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. So, Water 7. Out of 10. What are we giving it?
I want to give it a good, 9.
So not?
Yeah, 9 to 9.5, somewhere in there. I might have to look at my past reviews, because now I have, I think I put something else as a 9, but it's not.
Put something in the early points and a 9, which is fine, I think. Like,
nah, but this
you
is
haven't
different.
given a 9 since East Blue, I think.
Yeah.
And we are a long ways out from East Blue. We are.
But this was so much better, in my opinion, from East Blue.
But this is so much better.
But East Blue is what got me, like, into it, so no, I take that back. But, no, definitely a 9 to a 9.2-ish. Like, it was, I really liked it. Again, watching it, I wouldn't have given that rating. Reflecting on it, absolutely.
Thinking about it for a second. Okay.
Yeah, there were just so many fun parts to it.
Right.
And annoying parts. Really gave your emotions just a nice little ride.
Right. You got any, how you think we're going to beat CP9? Or you think they're going to let us go? Like, which... Nothing?
Well, I think Zoro is going to come in clutch because he can fight iron. So they're going to literally have to work as a team to defeat them because they all have such different strengths. They're going to have to really put their team hats on, including Usopp. Usopp's going to come into clutch, I think, with his impact dials.
SOGEKING.
Usopp. SOGEKING, sorry. I think they're all going to really have to work together. I think Nico Robin's going to have to play a part into this as well. She's going to have to use her powers. Teamwork.
All right. Cool. So that's a 9.5 out of 10 for Water 7. Annie's Lobby
Love
up
it.
next. Annie's Lobby is not actually the last arc in the saga.
Cool.
There's actually another arc after Annie's Lobby. Can't tell you what it's called, but hopefully you don't go looking it up or find it somewhere. We'll see what happens. So we'll end the video here. But before we end this video, if you have not already, please be sure subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification bell to get notified for more content that I put out as well. If you've never enjoyed this video, be sure to hit us with a like, leave a comment, and let us know your thoughts on the Water 7 arc in One Piece. So, on that note, y'all, enjoy your life.
I'm feeling great and feel the vibe. I'm really grateful we alive. And I'm feeling great cause lately I've been on the way to something great. And I feel alive cause I create like every day and I'm on today.